What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Also, share this out, the video series, and the channel. We're 15 subs away from 1.3K, and training camp is right around the corner, so we would appreciate all those different things to help us grow as a channel. I think training camp, I believe, starts a week from today, actually, so I will be there, I know. Just some other things as well for housekeeping purposes. We got some other content coming for you guys, Yankees-wise. And tomorrow, don't miss it, 6 p.m. will be a live stream with Lance Meadow, who is Giants reporter. He works on the Giants YouTube channel and also a SiriusXM radio host. So we're going to be asking him some questions, going into really, the training camp stuff and some of the Saquon Barkley stuff as well. So another roster bubble video. These usually take about 5 to 10 minutes long. Sometimes depending on the profile. What I do is I take a player that is on the cusp of being cut, talk about their background, their competition. Then I go into how they could win a spot on the roster, how they could lose a spot on the roster with a prediction at the end. So today we are doing Oshane Ximines, which Giant fans should be familiar with his name. I didn't know this till now, but he is a Queens native. But 26 years old, was picked by a couple of regimes ago. So it was the Shermer and Gettleman regime. 95th overall pick, third-round pick in the 2019 draft out of Old Dominion. In 2019, I thought he had an impressive season with the New York Giants, and he really looked like Lorenzo Carter the season beforehand, because Lorenzo Carter, he had a solid first year, and B.J. Hill obviously did, but, Oshane Ximines really sprouted up when Carter put up the same numbers. He played in all 16 games. He started 2 of them, 1 pass deflection, 4.5 sacks, 25 tackles total, 5 tackles for a loss, and 9 quarterback hits to go along with 12 pressures on the quarterback. Also, 45% of defensive snaps in those 16 games. So you move to 2020, and the New York Giants really don't beef up much of their pass rush, though they do get a new head coach in Joe Judge. He plays 4 games, starts 3, 5 total tackles, 3 quarterback hits, and 1 tackle for a loss. That's under Patrick Graham. 42% of the defensive snaps played in those 4 games. And if you break it down, and I kind of pointed this out a little bit too, is the highest amount of snaps he played in was a Giants blowout game when they got blown out by the 49ers. And I'm like, I don't know. It seems like they like Lorenzo Carter more than Oshane Ximines. Could that be the trend? So anyway, he actually was out for the rest of the season, I believe after the Dallas game with a knee injury. So there's that. It also didn't help that they traded Marcus Golden, but that's a different scenario. So 2021, second year, Patrick Graham, 10 games. He was inactive for some games as well. 13 tackles, 2 quarterback hits. Not what you want to see out of a third-round pick who's supposed to prosper and develop. 4 pressures on the quarterback, 1 missed tackle, and that's pretty much that. And also played 27% of the defensive snaps. So the fact that he was inactive, the fact that he cost the Giants arguably the game in, a percentage against the Kansas City Chiefs when he stepped off sides, would have been a Darnay Holmes interception. I mean, that's tough to sell in terms of trying to come back to the Giants. But Gettleman gone, Judge gone, all those different guys gone. And I believe Oshane Ximines last year was the first roster bubble guy I did, or one of the first. And the Giants kept him in 2022. They, I guess, were impressed by his preseason and training camp tape, if you will. 15 games played, 4 games started, 1 forced fumble, 2 pass deflections, 1 fumble recovery, 2 sacks. One of them was the first sack of the season. I know there's technical first sack of the season for Tamon Fox, but legitimate sack, that was Oshane Ximines on Baker Mayfield in week 2, and also in week 5. He also sacked Aaron Rodgers. Remember when Aaron Rodgers was going up for the Hail Mary, and boom, his arm just, goes flying, and he just goes down. That was Oshane Ximines actually putting on the sack and the forced fumble. But 3 tackles for a loss, 24 tackles, 8 quarterback hits, and 9 quarterback pressures. He played 51% of the defensive snaps in those 15 games that he did play. So, the New York Giants re-signed him about 2 months ago on May 5th. A move that many did not expect to happen because Oshane Ximines, let's be honest, his production has been lackluster with the Giants. It just hasn't been there, and there really was no reason to resign him, but I guess they like him. Don Martindale likes him, and, he likes his fringe pass rushers. So here's what he is looking at in terms of other guys competing with him. Haba Baldonado, who I really like out of Pittsburgh. I thought the Giants should have drafted him in the later rounds. Tamon Fox, who's coming off of a rookie year where he did okay. I mean, he's an undrafted free agent, so you're not going to hold the highest of expectations. And Ellerson Smith. And Ellerson Smith, I mean, we did, I think it was like the first or second roster bubble series video this year on him. He's got so many odds against him right now. It's not even funny. But right now, if you're taking a look at the edge rusher room, right, you're looking at Jihad Ward. I don't know if he's considered a defensive lineman or an edge rusher or whatever. But if you want to put him in, put him in. If you don't want to, don't want to. Anyway. You got Aziz on one side. You got Tibbs on the other side. Let's see who else you got. If you want to factor in, once again, Jihad Ward. Right now, it's looking like Oshane Ximines is actually one of the top guys to make this roster. Tamon Fox, we're going to do a video on him, so I'm not going to spoil too much. Ellerson Smith, I mean, he's barely available, and when he's available, he's not productive at all. And then Haba Baldonado, which we'll do a video on, and maybe we'll get some tape too, because I remember we were doing a draft profile on him during the Boys in Big Apple podcast. So that was a few months ago, but I really like what I saw from Baldonado. So it's Oshane Ximines versus Baldonado, Fox, and Ellerson Smith. How can he win? Exhibit veteran experience. I think, and it's not even I think, this guy has the most experience out of any edge rusher, honestly, that we have right now. Once again, Jihad Ward, if you want to factor him as a pass rusher or a defensive lineman, because he could be used in both. But outside of Jihad Ward, he is the most experienced. Now, obviously, that experience isn't necessarily the greatest of experience because he hasn't necessarily produced, but you could probably stack him up against Haba Baldonado and say, okay, he's better. Tamon Fox, Tamon Fox didn't really put up numbers last year other than the one quote-unquote sack. Oshane Ximines is better. Ellerson Smith, I mean, he's not played much at all, so you can definitely say Oshane Ximines right there. So exhibit veteran experience, go off in training camp. I think, honestly, it could be a good training camp for Oshane Ximines. And I'm a guy that's not necessarily the biggest fan of his because he doesn't play the run well, and he's from a different regime, and I feel like the Giants could have suited up the depth a little bit more better with the pass rush. But go off in training camp. I feel like, once again, I personally want to see what he does against the backup tackles, and I also want to see what he does against Evan Neal, because it's going to tell us something. Either Oshane Ximines got better, Evan Neal got better, Evan Neal got worse, or Oshane Ximines is staying the same. And I think he's plateaued as a player, Oshane Ximines, because, I mean, there's just barely any production from him in his career. This is what he is. He's a backup. Work on rush moves, rack up pressures. I think that's going to be one of the biggest things in training camp and in the preseason as well, against the Jets, against the Panthers, against the Lions. The Panthers, I mean, they really haven't done too much to reinforce their offensive line or address their offensive line. I mean, the Lions, when they have their starters out, they are one of the top offensive lines in the league, and the Jets have made some adjustments. I'll give them that. But work on rush moves, rack up pressures, and improve run defense. I mean, we'll see how far the run defense needle is moved by a couple of certain things. And it's not just the pass rush room, it's also the defensive line room as well, and also the interior linebacker room. So those guys got to make a difference as well. But in terms of moving the needle in the pass rush room, like, is Tamon Fox going to get better against the run? Ellerson Smith, he's not really known as a run defender. Haba Baldonado, probably your best run defender out of these guys, honestly, right now. But if Oshane Ximines can at least put up some competition and make some tackles against the run, then, obviously it changes the whole complexion of the competition and really, of that battle, of the roster battle in terms of that position. How can he lose? Unhealthy. He's not really been unhealthy, so I can't really say that. But just to throw it in there, because players get injured. Overshadowed by younger competition. I think that would be the biggest downfall. If Ellerson Smith has a breakout camp and he starts racking up quarterback hits and starts doing all these different things, Tamon Fox, too, they brought him in last year, so it's not like they're keeping him over from a different regime. If he starts putting up numbers, too, they may favor Tamon Fox a little bit more. And then Baldonado, I mean, as I said, I think he's the best run defender in this edge room outside of, obviously, Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau. But I mean, if he just starts excelling in different areas where Oshane Ximines has plateaued, then it might be over for Oshane. Not good at setting the edge. We've seen this a couple of different times the last few years in the preseason, really going back to 2021, where we allowed a ton of big runs against the Pats, allowed a ton of big runs against the Jets, allowed a ton of big runs against the Browns. Oshane Ximines was on those defensive lines. He played in those 3 games, and he contributed to the big runs, and that's not a good thing. Set the edge. If you don't, then that's going to be attack against you. That's going to be an X, a cross mark, whatever the hell you want to call it. And quiet against lower graded tackles, I think that'd be the biggest downfall. I mean, you obviously want all of your rushers to take care of business against lower graded tackles, the 2s and 3 guys for different teams who may become starters. I don't know. But if Oshane Ximines, in the one area that he actually does well, which is speed rushing against lower graded tackles, if he doesn't do that and doesn't take care of business, I think it's see ya at that point, because that seems like the only thing he can do, and that's really the only thing he's been utilized to do with the New York Giants. It's not run defense because he can't defend the run, and also certain other things too. So, recap, how can he win? Stay healthy, exhibit veteran experience, go off in training camp, work on rush moves and rack up pressures along with improving the run defense. How can he lose? Unhealthy, overshadowed by younger competition, not good at setting the edge, quiet against lower graded tackles. I have him making the roster. I think it's because of experience. I think the Giants brought him back for a reason. Now, obviously, just because you sign a 1-year contract doesn't mean you're going to make the roster. I mean, that's pretty much half of these guys that we've done already. But, with that being said, he's got the most experience out of these backups, and I think the Giants are going to use that in a different fashion. They're probably going to need to scope out a run defender amongst the other 3, Ellerson Smith, Baldonado, and Tamon Fox. Are going to need to scope out some type of a good run defender because Ojulari, he's still teeter-tottering against the run. Oshane Ximines is not good against the run, but the Giants like their fringe depth players who can rush the passer. That's Wink Martindale's specialty. I mean, Oshane Ximines was in the same class, and rest in peace to this guy because I really wanted him in the draft that year, and I was fine with Ximines, but Jalen Ferguson, if you guys remember him, he was a fringe pass rusher for a couple of years with the Ravens before he passed away. The other guy, Pernell McAfee, I think he was there as well. So this is the type of guy that Wink Martindale likes, but obviously he is missing the run defense aspect. But be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops up. Appreciate you all coming back. More of these roster bubble videos coming all through training camp. Tomorrow, 6 p.m., be there. I'm going to be interviewing Lance Meadow, talking about training camp, the Saquon situation. You guys will get, of course, chances to throw in your questions. And I think it's going to be fun. A lot more content coming your way. Yankees live streams, Mets live streams, all different sorts of stuff. And I really can't wait for training camp. It's a week from today. I will be there. I'll probably be doing some post-training camp content with my shirt microphone and the wind in the background as usual. But we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time. Peace. Let's go, Big Blue.